Antonio Brown continued his New York Stadium tour at Barclays Center. This after the Bucs said he will no longer play for the team. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Ashley Nicole Moss. And Ashley, this story has taken a lot of turns since Sunday, with some wondering about the Bucs' role in the entire situation. I'll say this. If the Bucs are to blame for anything, it's taking Antonio Brown back in the first place, because they may have asked him to go in the game, but what they really got here is what they asked for.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, side of it. It's kind of like that age-old tale of the scorpion and the frog, gives the scorpion a ride across the lake, and the scorpion stings him, and the frog goes, "Why did you sting me?" And the scorpion says, "I'm a scorpion. That's what I do." I think you knew what it was when you signed up for Antonio Brown. He's on the Bucs primarily because of Tom Brady, who pushed for him. Brady even had him living in his house at one point. I will go ahead and say this, though. If the story is true that Antonio Brown did go ahead and tell his head coach and the entire coaching staff, "Look, I cannot give you any more. My ankle, whatever the situation is, I just don't have it. I don't want to, re-aggravate this injury more than I already have." And they gave him an ultimatum. That's a problem. Now, that's kind of overshadowed by his antics on leaving, especially in the middle of a game. So that kind of gets lost in translation. But the bottom line is, if you tell your coach, "I cannot play," which he wasn't really able to practice for a few days leading up to that game, so the story's not completely not believable. If they give you an ultimatum, that's also something that needs to be looked at, because you can't be forcing players to play injured, especially when they've tried and they failed and they're telling you, "I cannot give anymore." But again, his character kind of overshadows this, because we've seen a lot of selfish behavior from AB in the past.
Yeah, here's the problem. His benefit out of the doubt went the way of his shirt on Sunday, right? We've thrown that out. He no longer gets that. And when you're talking about the situation, you referenced Tom Brady. I would go to what Brady said after the game. I thought that was very telling. Tom Brady has advocated for Antonio Brown, and afterwards he said, "This is a man who may need help." And I don't want to speculate on the underlying causes or someone's mental health too much, but there is a pattern of behavior here now that either says you're dealing with someone who's a legendary jerk or someone who is troubled. And I'm not trying to excuse anything he's done either, but I don't know if the NFL is the best avenue for Antonio Brown, though we just seen Justina Anderson report that other teams would be interested in him. That's what his talent level is.
Yeah, I think it's really important not to get into the armchair diagnosis of Antonio Brown or any player across the board. None of us are doctors or scientists, and you can't really start getting into the nitty-gritty of what somebody's, mental state is, or, even further than that. But I will say, to your point, it is very telling that Tom Brady said, "We need to practice compassion with Antonio Brown." That's not a direct quote, but that was the gist of it. If anybody knows Antonio Brown, it's Tom Brady. And the fact that the biggest competitor in the world, or one of the biggest competitors in the world, didn't just come out and completely chastise him in front of the media is very telling. Now, would that have been the same tune had they lost the game? I don't know. You can go ahead and make your own determination there. But I will say that Tom Brady going that route is definitely something that, you have to kind of tilt your head to and say, there may be more going on behind the scenes than we are privy to.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the argument Brady enabled Antonio Brown in a way, because obviously he's been arguing for him to come back to the team. But obviously he cares about him. And, as someone who was championing for him, he changed his tune at the end there after we all saw what took place on that field.